letting you know right now. For this program, you will have problems because it's a lot to go through. But we're basically initiating name, which is already a string, and then we're calling on the scanner class, which we have made into an object, and we're letting it know that we will be putting in a string, right? Same thing here, letting it know that we will be putting, this is already a string, and we will be putting a string inside, just recalling it and whatever we want it to be, right? And then we have to print it out. But over here we have to make sure that there are, okay, the business part. They basically they want to know how many combinations of their names you can print out, like, right? Larry, Curry, Mo. So you could be Curry, Larry, Mo. You know. So basically you're just printing it out in different ways, their names. That's all they want to do. Just, it has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times you have to call in the print statement. Alright, so remember that 6 times to actually do this. And then just rename them 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 2, 1, 3, 3, 2, 1. Moving on to the next one. Assuming the name and age has already been declared, so they are already given to us, right? Whatever, and age presently assume that the stdin is a variable that is referenced to scanner object, like before, associated with a standard input. Write a code that reads in the name and an age that prints out the message. Then age name is age. Alright. So we gotta just copy paste this right here. Make sure you copy paste it, right, and just drag it right here. And then actually you can't copy paste it. You have to copy paste only this. Make sure there's some space right there, right here. And plus name. Quotation mark, space. The reason why we put space is because this doesn't let us put space right here. Alright, so that's how we do it, and plus age again. This is calling in the object of the scanner class, I guess, what we have declared, and we'll be putting in a string since it doesn't have anything right there. It's a string. Age, calling in again. Age can only be in numbers or integers. That's why we're calling in an int right here. We'll be putting that in there. Alright. Moving on to the next one. Hopefully you guys have already done this or you're copying this. When I start reading it, just copy it, so then I explain it to you afterwards. Alright. What's the difference between next and next line and next line string? Let me just next line, next string. I don't think there next string there is no, I'm not sure if there is anything in next string because you cannot declare it as next string. There are only 3-4 options. Either it could be next dot, because you're typing it from keyboard, so when you type in next and you don't really leave anything, it automatically assumes that it's a string. Alright, but I'm not sure if you can actually type in characters like CHR, right? Yes, it might be actually possible since it is a I guess, what would you call it? Like int double, you have to actually type into it. There, next line. Difference between next line and next string. String is this exactly, but next line, it's we haven't actually got to that. I gotta look at my program codes to actually tell you what it is. Paul. All right. So for now, let's just concentrate on this and let you know. Because I have next line, right? I remember. I don't know what I used it for something. Next line. But I know that there is no next string since. Oh, so you had this as an error, right? Oh, let's try to make it an error. Yeah, you should. Now it has to be a string. No API documentations. I don't. Yeah, next line I remember, but next string I don't remember because I don't really recall when I used next line, but I know I did use it in one of my programs. Yeah, let's just see what it is. Next line. I always prefer to read. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I see. Oh, so it just automatically moves the scanner down after returning the current line. Okay. Ah, you see? That's how we have print and print line. Yeah, we learned something today. Yeah, I learned something too. That's cool. So that's the difference. All right. Moving on to the next one. If you haven't copied this already, please make sure you do. Alright, so assuming that name has been declared suitably for a storage name like blah blah blah, assume that this is again an object in reference to scanner object. Write some code that reads a value into the name, then prints the message. Greetings name quotation mark on a line itself. So for this one, for example, simple program, simple statements that we have to write. Yeah, we will name it because we have to name it. Then this is calling in the object, same thing, letting it know it's a string that we'll be putting in. And then we system.out print line greetings, like they asked us to do right here, quotation greetings and the name, and plus the name that we have stored in from the keyboard, that we typed in from the keyboard, right? Yeah, Farooqan is, Farooqan, same thing. It's like how you type in print and print. Yeah. Same thing. Only thing that we're doing differently is we're actually adding this at the end. So you can just copy paste the last program, last statement that you wrote. Just copy paste this. This is just asking you to add these three right here. Just it's redundant to go over this again. Alright, basically changing the output a little bit. But this time we are not putting in space right here, alright? Just let the name connect to the exclamation mark, I guess. Alright, next. Alright, what is it? Okay, it's just what's the value? Yeah, so it's just asking you what's the value of 0 is 0 common, right? It's nothing to do. Simple. Okay, now it's writing us to long integer value of 12 billion. 1,000 million, so it's a 12 billion, right? That's a million, and that's 12 billion right there. This is just kindergarten right now. Okay, this is a little different, okay? Hexadecimal. Write a hexadecimal integer, literal representative of the value of 15. So this is 15, right? But in hex decimal value. This is how you write 15 in hexadecimal. How did I know that? Let me see if we can use a calculator for that. 15, it's F, right there. 0x times F. That's how you know this. Or you can just Google it, right? Because there's absolutely no meaning for you to learn this right now. This is actually, this is using colors, I guess, to define colors, values, I guess. Yeah, exactly. Why would we have to worry about hexadecimals? Yeah, you don't actually use it. But that's how you do it. So you just should be on scientific, I guess. No, it's on program. Make sure it's on program. And then you type in 15, then you change it to a hex. It's F. Hex are only similar to you until 9, and after that you gotta type in letters. Moving on to the next one. Declarations. Declare an integer value, variable name, degree Celsius. It's telling us to declare something as an integer, so we just type in int. Remember that this will be a public variable, since we are not putting in anything before this, like private, right? It will only this is automatically assumed as a public, something you should know now. This is not that hard, self-explanatory. Moving on to the next one. Short, same thing. Type in short. Type in patient's age. What is short? Let's try that, right? Let's just try to type in F on that, like you said, right? Let me see if we can type in just F, if that works. No. Maybe X, 0x, right? That's just a simpler version, because I think 0f is like a simpler, it's like a more, F is just a simpler version, and 0x x dot F is a programming type of like, this is like the real value, how you would define it. Like you would automatically, like when you put it, I think you automatically assume it's a hex, but if you just type in a F, it could be an integer. I mean, it could be a character, right? because it's just simple. So you type it in as 0f. That might be it, or I might be wrong, you know. Because I remember, like, usually when I did programming, I just write an f as 15. You're right, right? But if you type in 0.x, it might be CPU related or like memory related. I'm not sure why. Right. So we can just let me try it. Let me see if Google can answer it. Let's see. I think that's just the like for if you wanted like a dumbed down version, you just type in f, and if you wanted like a computing version, then you have to type in 0.xf. Alright, we already did this, I think. Same thing, short, patient, age, just copy paste this and type in short in front of it. So basically you're declaring a short variable named patient. Declaring it as a long integer variable named gross nation product. Along, why along? Right. Oh, you guys, not sure if you know. Let me see if I have the program. How many we did so far? Like at least 20 of them, right? Yeah, that's like 30. Alright, halfway there. Alright. Cool job. I don't know, I had like it explained, let's say, these are all from like from YouTube and stuff. And like I copied it. Anyways, it let you know like what's the value, why they're using it float. I mean long, since integer has like a integer has like a something to the power of I don't know what it was, but it has a pretty short, yeah, it has a cap. That's why they're using it long. Right. Moving on, okay, now we're declaring two of them. You can declare integers like this also. If you want to declare integers, you can just type in int dot. This will hold the integer value. This will hold the integer value. You can declare like this, or you can declare like this, one by one. Right, same thing. Or you can just declare it like this, comma. You just put in a comma, and it automatically assumes that you want both of them to be integers. All right. Yeah, that's the yeah. 2 to the power of 31 is the limit, which seems quite long, but it's, I think, how many? It's like a million or something. That's it. Million or a billion. Anyway, this is pretty easy. We're just declaring two integer values: profit start quarter and cash flow end of the year. Right. Moving on to the next one. Declare integer value cash in hand and initialize it to 13. Same thing, we're declaring it, as integer, but this time we're equalizing it equal. We're putting in a value of 13 inside there. So every time you call in card in hand, it will automatically have a value of 13 inside of it. Basic, right? A little over 2 billion. Okay, that's good. So yeah, if you if you want to have a value of, if you're doing some calculations and the calculations are big, yeah, you might want to use, you definitely have to use long. Yeah. Uh, um, when I'm saying yeah, I'm just reading the comments. All right. So in the chat. Um, so don't think I'm just talking to myself. Yeah, long is 64-bit. So this is self-explanatory, I guess. Initializing it as int, and then we're putting in the value of 13 inside of card and hand. Right. Moving on. Same thing. Initializing, basically repetition right here of initializing and then putting in the value. But the only difference is that, no, there is no difference. There we go. It's basically the same thing, repetition. And should be simpler, easy enough. All right, moving on to the next one. Declaring as an int constant. Okay, constant meaning final. Remember that. Final can't be changed. Month, just copy this, drag it, put it right there, and equals 12 months, right? Initializing as final int month, because it's not gonna change, I guess. Another reason why, like, basically simple. It explains itself. You can't have more than 12 months in a year, so finalize it, right? Something that's not possible in real life, you just don't make it possible in programming. Moving on to the next one again. There's a constant. Constant again. Simply whenever it says constant, just type in the word final. So that's they basically equal each other, constant and final. Right. Int dot months in a decade equals month times 10, month in a year times 10, right? What they're asking is declare a constant value, constant month equal decade, whose value is the value of constant month of the year, months in a year multiplied by 10, right? So basically 10 years is a decade, right? 10 years is a decade. That's basically what it's asking us to do. Moving on, hopefully you guys have already copied this. Whenever I'm just copy this, and I will explain why we are writing that. Alright, so just make sure you copy it if you haven't actually don't have the answer, right? Then I'll go over it. Okay, floating point that are corresponding to the value of 0. Okay, so it's just asking us. This is just asking us how do you write a 0 in floating, right? In float. So you just put it 0. That's how you define it. This is an integer right there. This could also be a double, actually. This could also be a double. But it's similar. Float and double are almost the same. Double is much more longer than float. Moving on to the next one. Write a literal correspondent to the floating point value of 1.5. Alright. How do you type 1.5 in float? 1.5. Whenever it says float, you should just automatically assume that we are working with a decimal, right? We're working with a decimal, and we have to declare it as a decimal. And 1.5 is 1.5, right? Moving on to the next one. What is it? Okay, we're just typing in the first 6 digits of pi, right? After the pi, 3.14159. What is a pi? You should know that if you're doing some math. Right? Let's go. Declare floating. Okay. Oh, so this is exactly what we did in integer, just that we're declaring as floats. Float price. Why float? Price has to be float. Why we are declaring as a price? Because remember that price can be 9.99 cents, right? So we must, every time we use a decimal, we must use a float or a double. All right, that's basically that. Why we are using float for price. Double for that, same thing. Your weight could be anywhere from 99.5, right? You could be that could be your weight. So anytime we use a point, we must let it be a double or a float. Now we're declaring 2 double variables, one named length with a value of 3.5 and another named width with a value of 1.5. So it's just saying double. We were initializing it as length, and we're putting in the value of 1.5 in length, and comma, width equals 1.5. We're putting in the value of 1.55 in width, and then we're ending the statement with a semicolon. Moving on to the next one. Declaring a variable population change suitable for holding numbers like negative. Okay, since you can't, the reason why we're using int for this is because you can't have like half a person, right? You could either have a person or you can't have a person, so it's an integer. You can't have double or anything like that, since a person is either a person or not, or you're dead. So that's why we have integer, since it's a, and it goes to negative, right? That's why integer. Moving on to the next one. Well, since we're working with a point again, decimal right here, we can be, it could be double, this could be double, or it could be float. It doesn't matter, because they're basically similar to each other, right? So you could use any of them. So we're just declaring it as that. So it's just telling us that declare a variable x. What would you declare it as? Integer, double, float, or char, or string, right? So it's just asking us what would you do if you had to store that. And right, as it is, you don't, right? So we just use float for that because it has a decimal. Remember that decimal is a float or a double. Declare a variable. Again, we're working with a decimal right here, so it's a float or a double. You can use a double also, same thing. And we're initializing temperature. Remember that when you're using this, type in F for that to let it know that it's a float when you're initializing or you're giving a value to the what you have initialized. So just type in that so the program knows that you're putting in a float value for temperature. But you don't have to do that for double. That's one good thing about that, right? For double. For this, we are declaring a value of precision and initializing it to the variable value of 1.093886141. Double, same thing, what they just asked. Since it has a decimal, we are declaring as a double. It could be a float, but then we just have to put in an F at the end. If it was a float, doesn't really matter which one it is, because they're basically the same, other than the fact that you have to, when you're doing it, you just gotta put an F, right? Moving on to the next one. Right, character letter representative of the uppercase letter A. Remember, this has to be in, since it's a character, it literally wants us to type in the character A, right? But make sure you don't type in quotation marks. Instead, you just type in the little one quotation mark. I don't know what's the pronunciation for that, but make sure it's just one time you just type on that same button that you type on for quotation mark instead you're not using a shift. Simple enough. Same thing. Character, right? That's just char. That's what they're asking for us to define char. Char is always this. A string is with double quotation marks, right? This is a string. So that's the difference. That's why we're using one at a time. One of them. Alright. Moving on to the next one. Writing a character. Okay, same thing. Just char, remember that char. It's not asking for a string or anything. Just type in the point and one. Simple enough. Okay, I tell you the truth, I didn't know what it meant to be Unicode value of is 65, right? I have no idea what that meant, but you just type in 65 and it is the value of that. I think it's like if you go into characters, there's a chart where you can type in where A does not actually mean A, and the Unicode value for A would be like something different. But since it's a number, its Unicode value is actually 65. Correct me if I'm wrong. Alright, let me see what you guys. What are we, WorldCon? What are we talking about? C, for instance, uses, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, let's just keep it simple for now. Okay, this is like telling us how much we can store in character values. It's it's 6,500, 535. Okay, declare a character. Same thing. This time they're asking us to declare, so that means that you have to write the statement. So just type in char C and semicolon. All right. write an expression that computes the sum of two variables, variable score and max score. Already declared, so they have already initialized the values, and initialized and declared the values. So they already put the initial things, and it's just expression. Remember that we're writing an expression that's like a pseudocode for Java, right? We're not writing the exactly how we're gonna put it in Java. We're just writing a pseudocode for that. So just this time you don't have to put anything other than just this and this with plus, and that should do it for you. Given the variable function. Same thing, we're just writing an expression, keyword expression, and correspond to the total amount. Okay, write an expression that computes the differences. Okay, this time we're using minus since it's difference for the variable end time and start time. So n minus start gives us the differences. Minus, right? Keyword difference. That's why they highlighted it. Put it in bold. Moving on. Alright, given the variable full admission price and discount amount already declared and assigned value, write expression that corresponds to the price of discount admission. Okay, admission minus discount amount. That's how you get the discount admission. Right? Expression. Writing an expression again. Not actual code, just the expression. Given the variable price per case, write an expression that corresponds to the price of dozen cans. A dozen cans are 12 cans. A dozen is a 12. So you just price per can times 12. Right? So we're writing an expression again, and this will give you the answer. Given the variable cost of bus rent and maximum bus rides of type integer, write expression corresponds to the cost per ride. Assume that the bus is full. Do not worry about any fraction part of the expression like that. Okay, it's just division, simple division. So it's cost of the bus and divided by the maximum bus riders. Gives you the answer for that. Write an expression that computes the remainder of the variable. Okay, so this time we're not actually we don't care about the division, what the result is. We care about the remainder. So this is the remainder. This is how you get the remainder. Right? Remember when we were doing the program to find odd numbers? This without this symbol, you cannot write a program for to find out odd numbers. So if whatever you divide for that program, whatever the number is, remainder is not equal to 0. It's not divided by 2 does not equal to 0. That means that it is not a even number. So it's an odd number automatically, right? So this is very important. Yeah. So this is how you get the remainder, what they wanted. Alright, moving on to the next one. A wall has been built with two pieces of sheetrock, a small one and a larger one. The length of the small one is stored in a variable small, and similarly, the length of large one is stored in the variable large. The larger one is stored in the variable large. Write a statement expression whose value is the length of the wall. So it's small plus large. Not actually larger, but make sure you use the variable large. Similar for that, right? Don't use smaller, use the variable small plus large. Okay, write an expression that computes the sum of two variables, total plus total 1 plus total 2, which has already been declared and assigned values. Same thing that we did before, but today, and since we're writing an expression, we don't have to put in a semicolon, right? And make it a Java statement. This is not a statement expression again. Just putting in this plus total 1 plus total 2. And that's how you do this problem, which is what they're asking for, a sum. Write an expression that computes the differences. Differences automatically means minus of two double variables, summer sale and spring sale spring, sale summer and springs sale spring, which has already been declared and assigned values. Same thing, writing an expression, sales summer minus sales spring. You're given two double variables already declared and assigned values named total weight containing the weight of shipments and weight of the box containing the weight of the box in which a product is shipped. Write an expression that calculates the net weight of the product. So we're writing an expression, right? And they have whatever the expression is already it's already gonna mean that it's the net weight. So you don't have to write a statement, just type in total weight minus the width of the box. You're given two variables. Okay, you're given two variables already declared and assigned one of the type double name and named total weight. So it's already named for us, and we'll just copy paste this right here. Contains the weight of the shipment, and the other one type int named quantity. Get it? And contain the number of items in shipment. Write an expression that calculates the weight of the item. So total weight divided by quantity is the expression that will let us know the weight of one item, right? Since there are a bunch of them in a box. So how many of them in a box divided by the weight, right? So the quantity divided by weight will give us the weight of everything in there, weight of one thing. Moving on to the next one. You're given two variables already declared and assigned variables. One type double named price. Price is double. Containing the price of an order, and the other type int named total number, containing the number of orders. Write an expression that calculates the total price of all orders. Similar to what we did before, instead of dividing this time, we're actually using multiplication. So price times total number. And since we are writing expression, same thing. Don't have to write it in any form, in Java form. Just you're not writing a statement, just an expression. Just type this in, and that's how we get the total price for the order. So the price times the total number. Given two integral values, distance and speed, write an expression that divides distance by speed using float point algorithm. Fraction result should be produced. Alright, so it's telling us for this one that whatever the result is, I want it in a fraction, or in it must include decimal, right? So for that, we must first we're letting the expression know that we want the result in double. So it's not gonna be an integer or anything. We will take whatever this is. Sorry about that. Right? But basically asking us to put it in float point. What is a float point? It's when you have digits with any time that you have a period or a decimal point in a number, right? So basically that's what they're asking for. We need it in a decimal point, and so you type in this and it will give you in a decimal point. So this is it, distance divided by speed. Whatever the result is, it will come in double. Yeah, casting. Same thing here. This time we are actually writing the thing, what you call. We're not writing an expression. This is actual Java code right here. So calculate the average. So we're calculating the average. How do you get the average? You add everything up and you divide it by the number of times, the number of things that you added up, right? So we will be calculate the average of a double as a double. So it's telling us to make sure it's in a double that we're getting in. So even if it's just like 1, 2, 3 right here, and you divide it, your output will be like, okay, if it's 3, 3. If it's 3, 3, this has 3, this has 3, and this one has 3, and you divide it by 3, you get whatever the answer is. It will be in x dot x, right? This will be your answer, like representing the numbers, right? So that's what we're letting it know, that we want the answer with a decimal point. It doesn't matter if it has 0 at the end, or this one has this, but we still need the decimal point since it's asking for us that. Alright, so that's how you do it. And you can't, since they're integer, all of these are integers, and so they wouldn't automatically give you a decimal point since they're all integers. The only way you can get, like, if you're writing a code and you want something that's already going into your class is already an integer, but what you want to return is a double or something else, float or double or float or something else, you might want to let it know that I want it as a double, and then it will give you as a double. So that's how that works. Same thing for this, assuming the children is an integer value, so they are all integer. This is an integer. That means int contains a value, contains the number of children in the community, and the families are integer variables containing the number of families that contain the same right expression. So we're writing an expression now. not Java, actual Java code, just a pseudocode. Write an expression whose value is the average number of children per family. So you find the average by children divided by families, since they have that's how you want it. But where? So integer. Let me see if this works. This shouldn't work, right? Why it didn't work is because there's a decimal point, since they're all int right here, both of them, right? So if it's like 5 divided by 3, so you get a decimal point in there, right? Since it doesn't, so that's why you're calling it double. You're telling it whatever it is, just give me the double of them. Which is why, even though it doesn't say where it is, you have to add a double from what we learned in that. Man, that should be 100 then. Oh my god, where are we? Alright, assuming that price is an integer variable whose value is price in US cents, and assume the item is paid for in a minimum amount of change, just a single dollar. Write an expression for the number of single dollars that would have to be paid. Okay, so it's asking us if price is an integer int value, right? As it's initialized as int, and cents, assume the item is paid with a minimum amount of change and just dollars. So just saying how much 100 cents is a dollar, right? So you just 100 cents divided by price. That's how you get this. Since their 100 cents equals a dollar, a single dollar is 100 cents. So you just divide it, and every time you put in like 100 cents, it automatically equates to that dollar. Alright, now we're doing something actually pretty good. This is actually, assuming that price is an integer value whose value is the price in US currency in cents as an item. Write a statement that prints the value of price in form x at y on the line itself. So if value of price is 4321, write your code should print $43.21. If the value is 5 or 1, it would print $5.01. If the value is 99 in your code, then it would print $0.99. So how would you print that out, since it's asking us to print it out as a statement, not an expression? So this is a real Java code. That's how you would put it. System.println price divided by 100 plus, so that's price divided by 100 is whatever you get, right? So if you put this divided by 100, you get $43, and price module 100 is the cents, so you get the 21 cents right here. That's how you get that. Hopefully you guys have copied that and know how to do that. Moving on. Assuming that price is an integer value, whose value is price, US country, in cents, an item, assume that the item is paid for with a minimum amount of change and just single dollars. Write expression for the amount of change in cents that would have to be paid. So same thing, but instead now we're not dividing, we're actually using module. We're using the remainder, so it's price remainder of 100. That's it. That's how you do this one, because it's asking for in change, in cents instead of in dollars. Assuming that an int variable x that has already been declared and initialized as to a non-negative value, write an expression whose value is the last rightmost digit of x. Alright, that's how you get that one. 10 module x module 10 is how you get the rightmost value. Write an expression that computes the average of the value 12 and 40. For this, we must put parentheses because we want them to add first, then divided by 2, right? So parentheses goes first. Everything in parentheses goes first, then it divides by 2. That's how you get the average. 12 plus 40, then divided by 2. Write an expression that computes the integer average of int variable exam and exam2, both declared and assigned values. Same thing, we're actually putting parentheses. First, we're letting them add up. Then we're dividing by the number of exams, that is 2. The dimension width and length of room 1 has been read into variable length 1 and length 2. The dimension of room 2 has been read into other variables. Width 2 and length 2, write an expression whose value is the total area of 2 rooms. So first, we're multiplying width times length for the first room. Then we're multiplying width times length for the second room. And then we're adding it. No holidays for you. Are we having class on Christmas? I think, yeah. Yeah, we're having class on Christmas. Yeah. Well, well, well. Okay, so that's how you get it. Same method right here, but this time it's each of the walls of the rooms with square dimensions have been built with two pieces of sheetrocks and a small one and a large one. The length of the smaller ones is the same and is stored with the valuable variables of small length of the. Similarly, the length of all the large ones is the same and stored in the value variables. Large, write a single expression whose value is total area of this room. Do not write any methods in locations. So parentheses, small plus large. Excuse me. Uh, Parentheses, small plus large times parentheses, small plus large. First you add small and large on both sides, then you multiply the values. That's how you get the total area of this room. Three classes of children are selling school tickets to the school play. The number of tickets sold by these classes and the number of children in each of these classes have been read into variables. Ticket 1, Ticket 2, Ticket 3, and Class 1, Class 2, and Class 3. Write an expression for the average number of tickets sold per school child. So we're writing average, which is adding up first both sides. We're first adding both sides. But since it's a average, it will be in double. The reason why, because it's there will be a decimal point. If there might be a decimal, since the price of the tickets, or if the classes and stuff. Anyways, so you first add in ticket 1 plus ticket 2 plus ticket 3. You make sure you put in parentheses, so you want this to first add them up. Similarly, we want the classes to add up first. Then you divide class, whatever the value will be in class after they add it up, divided by the value of tickets, what it will be, and it will automatically be in double since we want it in double. That's how you do that one. Alright, this one's a little harder. This one in mathematics, the n-harmonic number is defined by the value 1 plus 1 divided by 2 plus 1 over 3, 1 over 4 plus dot dot plus n. So the first number is 1, the second is 1.5, the third is so on. Write the expression whose value is the 8th number. So we just want the 8th number right here. So we just write the whole thing how it would look. So it's 1.0. These are in double. Divided by 0.7.0 plus. You should just copy this the way it is. Don't try to, because this is the only way it works. Same thing, but this time So the first start is that, and so you're assuming the n is an integer variable whose value is some positive integer n. Assume that nh is a variable whose value is n to the numeric number, right expression whose value is n plus 1 numeric number. So it's numeric number plus 1.0 divided by, first you do this, n plus 1 divided by 1.0 plus nh, mnemonic number. This already has a value in. Similarly, this is already a value. This has a value already. Now this is they're giving us a integer variable driver age. We're just setting it to 17. So this is how you write it: driver age equals 17. Same thing, but now we're actually giving the new record the old information. If it was the other way around, then the old record would be getting the new information, new record. So for this one is the one that's going to be receiving the old records. So this one will be going into this. Oh boy. Okay. This one will be going into this. Why doesn't it let me? That's what's happening there. Given to integer value metric age and grade age, write a statement that gives the grade age value that is 4 more than the integer. So basically they want the grade age to be plus 4. How do you write that? You just type in metric age, right? And then you add plus 4. This is a statement. Remember that this can be used in Java as it is. It's not an expression. Grade age equals metric age plus 4. You don't really need these. I don't think so. You need these. You can just do it as it is. Yeah. Bridge player. Given integer value bridge players, write a statement that increases the value of the variable by 4. Okay, so what we're doing is we want to make this bridge player. They're asking us to make the bridge player have plus 4 inside. So we use the older bridge player, and we just add in the value of 4. And this automatically gives the new one right here. So plus 4. So it's automatically whatever it had in there plus 4 from then on. That's how you add in. That's how you add in a number. Given an integer value profit, write a statement that increases the variable value of the variable by a factor of 10. This is a factor, remember that keyword. So profits equal profits times 10, a factor of 10. This is a statement. So you type in what profits equals profit times 10, and that's how you get the answer for this. Give the integer values draws on camels. Write a statement that uses the auto increment operator to increase the value of the variable by 1. So this is how you can increment in code. If you want to increment by 1, that's how you increment by 1 instead of writing the whole code like equals statement star star. Instead of writing this, right? See. Instead of writing that statement, you can just simply put, if you're gonna increase it by 1, that's the, instead of writing all that, you can just put plus plus. Oopsie. Here we go. Plus plus. That automatically increments it by 1. Every time this statement is called, it will automatically increment it by 1. Similarly, you can decrease it by 1. You don't have to do all that. You can just press minus minus, and every time this statement is called, it will decrease the value by 1. Okay, now we got some questions. Write this code. V int v equals 20. V minus minus system print ln v plus plus. What's the value? What is the value in print? What is the value we will be left at? Okay, first thing I actually thought it was 20. It was gonna print out, and will end up as 20. But I was actually wrong. It was actually 19 it will print out first, because int v equals 20 minus vv. So before it even increments it, it will just print out this first. What is v right now? It will just print out 19 first, which is 19 since it's minus minus, and then it will increment it with plus plus. Then it becomes 20. But if you have another statement after this, that will print it out, and then it will be actually 20 again, because first it prints it out, then it adds a value. Okay, for the second one, considering this code, int s equals 20, int t equals s plus 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 s minus minus. What is the value? SD. Okay, so this one is int is 20, s is 20. That's the value of s and t. Okay, so s is 20 already, which is right there, right? And as for t is right here, which is, this is 20 plus, oh actually this is 21. This becomes 21 since it's plus plus. So this becomes 21 plus 19. So this actually equates to 40. So this is actually 21. Since it's already 20 and we're adding it plus 1, so it becomes 21. And this is just addition. And this is actually 19 since it was 20 right here. It becomes 19. Moving on, we actually did this this week, swapping values from one to another for the arrays. I think that we did. Actually, the loops. What was it? Um, we had to swipe the values. Actually, it was for a loop we were doing. So given the two integer values I and j has already been declared, and two other integer values I temp and ij, we have declared it and written the code that swap. We have to write a code that swaps the value of I and j by copying their values into temp I and temp j respectively, and then copying I temp. So basically, we're just changing I into j and j into I. Basically, same thing, like just changing it into each other. For that, we're actually using these two. It's a simpler version of what you can do. So we're storing. So here we're storing I into temp I into this, and then we're I temp I into this, right? So j becomes I what it was. And as for j, we're temporarily storing it in that, and j becomes that. Alright, for the next one, given three already declared integer value I and temp. So this time we're not actually going to use four of them, four variables. So now it's a little harder for us to actually give temp into everything. So now we're actually going to swipe with only three and one that would hold, okay? So use the value of I and assign it to original value of I and swipe it. Okay. So this time we're going to put temp in there, I in there, right? So we already have this stored right there. So we have it, and j becomes I equals j. So I becomes changed. This becomes changed. But we still have I's information in temp, so we just put j becomes this again, I. So that's how you can swipe it. We just put it I in there in temp, and this has all the information for I. And since we don't need both of them to have same thing, we can just change I to j, right? I mean, we can just put j into I. So I and j have the same value right now over here, but we're gonna change j's value to temp that we already temp will become j. So I mean j will become temp. J will hold the value. So that's how you do that one. All right. Similarly, this is exactly what we'll be doing here. Given two integer variables, first place and second place, write some code that swipes their values and declares any variables and declare any variables as necessary. So exactly what we did previously, but this time we will just initialize int swipe me, because first place winner will be it's already int right here, so we need to swipe it with an int. So we put the value of first place winner in int, so we have saved first place in there. So then we put the second place value in first place, so we still have the information of first place in int swipe, and the first place information, second place information in here. Now we have an extra two second place. This one also holds. This one has Alright, I can't even draw. This one has second, and this one already has second too. This one has 1. So we don't need both of them, so we can just swipe it and equal it to 1. This becomes 1. So second place holds 1 and the first place holds second. That's how you can swipe it. Given two variables double best value and second best value, write some codes that swipes them their values. Declare any variables as necessary. Double, temp number, temporary number, and so this becomes the double. So it's the reason why we're using double instead of temp is because these two are double values. These have double values. They're initialized as doubles. And so to change them, we just, same thing that we did before, we just take best value and put it into temporary num, and the second best value and the best value. So this second best becomes that, and the best value you can just change it with temp num. So second becomes first best value, and the best value becomes second value. So it takes the number. Alright, so it's just asking what is false in Java. So we just false is false in Java, right? That's what it is. Simple. What is true in Java? True is true in Java. What it means. Write an expression that evaluates to true if and only if the integer x is greater than integer y. So this is an expression, not so we're just writing expression, just pseudocode. So you type in, you don't really need these curly braces right now. It should work without it, but yeah. So just x is greater than y. This time we're learning how to use equal sign. This means equal in Java instead of just 1. This is not same. This means equal. This is when you're comparing. This is what you use to compare. You don't actually use just one equal sign. Write an expression that values the true to true if only and only if the value of the integer value x is equal to 0. So yeah, it's saying x, whatever it has in there, equal. Does it equal 0? That's what this is doing. This is comparing this function right there. That's what you need to do. Similarly, this is exactly what we're doing. Equal. So we're actually using the same thing. Equal. Do not use just one equal. That does not compare them. Only when you type in two equals does that equal mean that you're comparing each other in Java. Profits equal loss. So if it's true, right? So we're trying to see if it's true. Moving on, write an expression that evaluates to true, and if the index is greater than the value of index, last index. All right. So index, if it's greater than, that means this index is greater than the last index. Simple enough, right? So index is greater than, that's the keyword for that. and that. Simple enough. Working overtime is definitely having worked more than 40 hours given a variable housework, write an expression that evaluates to true if the employee has worked more than 40 hours, more overtime. So anytime you go work is greater than 40, that means they have worked overtime, right? Since 40 represents the hours of how much they work, and work hour is what the employee anytime that they go over 40, it automatically activates this code. This is true then. If the work hour has more than 41 hours, then it's true. Okay, now we're using greater and equal to right here, since it requires us to use greater and equal to right here. Write an expression that evaluates to true if the value of x is greater or equal to y. So is x greater or equal to y? Just same thing what they just wrote in Word, we just write it in code. Not in code, just simpler version. So x is greater or equal to y. Given the variable number of men and number of women, write an expression that evaluates to true if number of men is greater than or equal to the number of women. Okay, so number of women greater or equal to number of men. Just what they wrote, greater if the number of men is greater or equal to number of men if it's greater or equal to number of women. Simple enough. Since it's an expression, you don't have to put this, just a regular statement. Given a double variable, call average, write an expression that is true, and only if the variable is less than 60. Okay, so this time we're using average is less than 60, then every time that the average is like 50 for 59, it will be true, and so this will activate. Otherwise, if it's more than 60, if it's 61, this will not activate the if statement for this. This will not be true. So that's why. Oh, by the way, we're using 60 point. Yeah, we're using this to compare because it's a double also, so it has a decimal point. Given a int value variable gross pay, write an expression that evaluates the true if and only if the value of gross pay is less than 10,000. So this time we're writing an expression. We want it to be true. That means that we want it to execute only if the gross payment is less than. So gross payment less than 10,000. Alright, so we're just for this given the char variable c, write an expression that is true and if and only the value of c is not a space. So this is what it means to be not. So this is what it's saying right here, not. Right here, where was it? Is not. So this is not for in code. You put the exclamation mark and equal. So it's not nothing. There's space right here. What they're asking, space character. So C is not equal to space character. Nothing there, empty space. Right? And it's a char. Char. Okay, assuming that C is a character variable that has already been declared and already given a value, write an expression whose value is true and if and only if the C is a new line character. So this is how you write a new line character. and it has to be true if it's equal, if C has the same value, if C has slash n in when it was declared, then this statement is true. So it has to equal true, right? So that's how you equal it to true. You put in /n, which means a new line. So assuming that C is a char value and has already been declared and given a value, write an expression whose value is true and if only if it's space character. Okay, so basically the same thing. It should be true only if it has space in there. Similarly, it has space in there and this statement is true. It doesn't need any of these things. Alright, so assuming that C is a char value declared and given already a value, write an expression whose value is true if and only if C is a tab character. So this is a special character when you're trying to put a code, just like a new line. This will put some tab. Just clicks tab, so that it creates a lot of space between your characters when you're typing. So if this, we want it to be true because C is also storing this inside it. So this is why we were saying if it equals this, and it will be true. So we want this statement to be true, so we put in as a char tab /t, which is tab. Okay, assuming that C is a char variable and has already been declared and already given a value, write an expression whose value is true and if and only if C is what they call a white space character. That is space or a tab or a new line. None of them. Which is okay. So just type telling us. So we're writing expression that's C can equals this, can equal this, or C can equal this, because we don't want it to display any ink on the screen, right? This will just create more space. Any of these will just be blank on your screen, so that's why we're using these. So it's telling us so moving on, this time they're asking the same thing, but this time they don't want it to be true. They don't want it C to be empty space. So you basically use the same thing as you did in the last one, right? So just to make this untrue, you just type in exclamation mark, and this makes it not true. Automatically makes it not true. So this is exactly what we did right here. We just did the same line, same thing, and to make it not true, we don't want any empty space in C to equal empty space. Or if you're trying to ask somebody or write a character name and they type in space and you don't want that, you can just type in this code right here and they wouldn't be able to and then you write a loop for them every time this is true, that means the loop will execute, and they would have to type in. They can keep trying, but they wouldn't be able to go through the loop, and they would have to type in a real character, not just space. So that's why we use this. So if it's not true, right here. Okay. For this, given the variable x and y has already been declared and assigned values, write an expression that evaluates to true, and if is a non-negative and a y is a negative. So it's asking us that x is a non-negative, so it can't go x cannot be below 0. So if x is a -1, the statement will not be true. So to make it true, we have to define it as x being 1 or anything. So if x is greater or equal to 0, it will always be true, right? And so if this one is true right here, and this one doesn't equal true, this statement will always be false. So y is less than 0, so this will always be negative. Y will always have a negative number too for this statement to be true. Given the variable x and y has already been declared and assigned value, write an expression that evaluates to true if x is positive and including 0, or y is a negative. Same thing. Since we're using R for this, you have to type in this right here. This is Java's equivalent of R, and to type that, you just press Shift and your key above Enter to type that. So x is greater and equal to 0, or so anytime this is R, it doesn't matter which one will be true. This will automatically, if this one is true and this one is false, it will still run it. But if both of them are false, it will not run it. Or if this one is true and this one is false, it doesn't matter which one is false. As long as one of them is true, this one will run, since it's an OR statement right here. So that's the difference. Given the integer value within years or department, write an expression that evaluates to true, and if the years within company is less than 5 or department is not equal to 99. So years of company less than 5, and since they're asking for and right here, we put an and in Java like this. Department not, that's how you put not right here, equal to 99. That's how you will write it in code. If the company is less than 5 and the department is not 99. Alright, moving on. Temperature greater than 90. Given the variable temperature and humidity, write an expression that evaluates to true if and only if the temperature is greater than 90 and humidity is less than 10. So if temperature is greater than 90, right here, greater than 90, and since we're using and there's our and right there, humidity less than 10. 10 right there. Simple enough. Moving on. Write an expression that evaluates to true if the value of integer value is divisible with no remainder. So equals 0. Okay. To value something that. Okay. So it's asking us to divide it, but make sure the remainder is not 0. So whatever this, if we divide number of fries by participate, right, and equal it, we want the remainder of it, and if the remainder is there, it's a number, right? If there is a number, and it will not equal to 0, because anytime that you divide 2 divided by 2, the remainder will be 0, since we're asking for the remainder here, and this statement will be true. But if if you're dividing something like 5 divided by 2, then it will be 2.5, and the 0.5 will be over here, and 5 does not equal 0, so the statement will be false then. But they're asking for a true, so that's why we use it. We define it as that. Moving on. Write an expression that evaluates to true, and if the value of the integer value of width of the box is not divisible by the value of the integer variable width of the box, assume that the width of the box is not 0, meaning has a remainder. Okay, so same thing that we did before right here. If the remainder is not equal to 0, that is true. That's basically what it's asking. Width of the box, remainder of the width not equal to 0. If it's not equal to 0, then it will run. But if it is, then this argument will not run because of this. It shouldn't equal to 0, because if it equals to 0, then that means that this argument, the remainder, this argument will not run. Write an expression that evaluates to true if the integer variable x contains even value, and if false, and if it contains odd number. So this is exactly what we did in class 2 days ago. Well, 2 or 3 days ago, we were trying to find the loop for even and odd numbers. If the x remainder divided by 2 does have a value, variable of 0, then it's a even number automatically, because the remainder will be somewhat. If it doesn't have a remainder, it's 0. Then it's an even number, and if it does, as they're asking for an even number, right? And it will be false if it does have a remainder, because we're trying to equal it to 0. Okay, now we're trying to declare a variable is a customer suitable for representing a true or false variable. To declare them as true or false, we have to use Boolean. Boolean is a customer. That means is it true, or is this a customer or false? So it doesn't have any other option. It can either be true or false. That's what they're asking for, and that's what we give them. All right, declare a variable, test has passed, and initialize it as true. So Boolean has passed test equals true. So we just passed in this as they have passed the test, and that is true. Simple enough. Assuming the Boolean variable worked overtime has been declared, and another variable hours of work have been declared, write a statement that assigns the value variable true to overtime, and if worked is less or greater than 40, false otherwise. So if work hours is greater than 40, worked overtime. Yes, you did work overtime. Otherwise, if it's less than 40, it will automatically go to the else statement and print out, no, you did not work overtime. Simple enough. Write an expression that counts working overtime. Overtime work that automatically makes it true. If you just type in overtime work, that means yes, he did work overtime. Given two variables is empty or type. Boolean indicate whether a class or a roster is empty or not. Credit type. Int contains numbers of credits for class. Write an expression that evaluates to true and if the class, the roster is empty or class has exactly 3 credits. If is empty, it's already declared for us as a Boolean type. Or right here, this is or. What they're asking for, and if the number of credits equals 3, so we just give them what they want. Equals 3 credits, so 3 credits, number of credits, which has already been declared for us right here. Number of credits, if it's equal 3, or if it's empty or not, true or false. And this is the or statement. Oh my god. Alright, I think that should be enough. I'm tired. We have already done it for break. What? I'm about to break, man. I'm surprised. I'm tired of that. Yeah. I'm gonna try to figure out something for the thing. I don't know if you guys were following me or just sitting there, so I'm not sure. Well, anyways, I did my job. I don't know what this is. Blah blah blah. I accept. Oh, you were following me? Wow. Well, let me just. Let's see if I can run this thing. It shouldn't give me some problems right now. Uh-oh, we have a problem. Alright, thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, for the black, I think you go to Windows. Let me see. So I like the black. I don't know where it was. I think it should be settings, maybe. Default settings. Settings, maybe settings. I'm gonna try to see. Appearance. Oh, there it is. A theme right there. That's how you do it. So you go to first. You go to settings, and then you go to theme right there. I have the Dracula theme. IntelliJ would be the other one. You see, you have that, or you could setting, There we go. Well, for me right now, I'm having problems right now with this because I try to run it. Hmm. How do I?